All right, Erica, thank you so much. Right now we want to go out to Madeira, where officials there are giving their first update about this plane crash. Let's listen in.
And so some of those questions Paul will have to answer. The rest of them I'll try to give you. We were dispatched at 15:18 hours to the report of a plane down on Kaywood. Kaywood is the street just to the east of us. We're standing on Rollymeade right now. The address that we're going to use for this incident is 6548 Rollymeade, spelling Rollymmeade. There is a twin Piper down in the backyard of 6548 Rollymeade. It has a tail number that we have given to authorities to try to find out as much about the aircraft as we can. But since we do not know about who was on the aircraft, how many souls were on the aircraft, I'm going to not give you the tail number right now. The Madeira and Indian Hill Fire Department, Quint 65, was first on the scene at 15:24 and found the aircraft down, having struck a remodeled extension of the house at the back of 6548 Rollymeade. The aircraft was on fire. The fire was extinguished. There was a search done of the home immediately, and we have been able to confirm that everybody that lives in the home has been accounted for and is safe, including 2 dogs. At this particular point in time, we think the plane was inbound to Lunken Airport. There is a report that the aircraft was on a mission of sorts to take photographs of the area. We're not certain exactly what area that was or whether there was more than one person on board the aircraft. Those are what we're trying to find out right now. Ohio State Patrol has been called in. The Madeira Police Department uses the Ohio State Police for these investigations as their lead. We're receiving assistance from the Lunken Tower and from other airport authorities in the area. I'm going to answer this radio one more time, and you can do however you want a second. Come here, go.
Steve, if you have it already, just to consider.
So the chief here is getting ready to answer a couple of questions. We know that this accident happened a couple hours ago now, 15 military time. Are you saying that the good news here, no one was inside of that home? They don't believe that anyone living at that home was hurt, and they have all been accounted for. We also heard that there were 2 dogs inside the home.
That is our first official updates from officials out there on the scene in Madeira. We're understanding this happened around 3:15. That plane.
Let's
listen back into them.
We'll take some questions and we'll see how. You've got tons of questions. We get that. But
are there any survivors, Chief?
We don't know how many people were on the aircraft, so we don't know. We know that there was nobody that was on the aircraft that has come to us or that we've located. How's that for a Dodge answer?
Chief, how many people could this aircraft seat?
Boy, I don't know which particular model. It's a Piper Twin, and generally those are set up for 6 seats. But I'm not sure.
Can you tell us the extent of injuries?
The extent of injuries are fatalities. So
you can't confirm?
I can confirm a fatality.
A fatality or fatalities?
We don't know.
Okay.
At least one.
At least one. At least the pilot. Yeah.
And do we know where this plane was coming from?
We do not. We don't know whether it originated at Lunken and was returning to Lunken, but we know it was returning to Lunken. Now, where it started, that we don't know. That's part of what we're trying to find out. And we can do that by having the tail number of the aircraft and then finding out whether the aircraft had a flight plan. On a day like today, the aircraft could be flying VFR and could be flying in the area with no flight plan whatsoever, and so we wouldn't know then as much as we might know when we do the research back through the aircraft's tail number.
Chief, you said that they may have been taking pictures of the area. Do you know if this was for some sort of business or if this was for their own personal use?
We don't know. We don't know.
Has the NTSB been called in yet?
They have.
When are we expecting them to arrive?
I don't know. Did you hear that?
Representative from FAA and NTSB have been notified, and they should be arriving shortly to assist with the investigation.
Who else is here on scene as far as agencies?
Sycamore Township Fire and Madeira and Indian Hill Fire were the responders. We actually came at this incident from both sides. So Madeira and Indian Hill is on the Kaywood side, Sycamore Township's on the Rollymeade side. The incident is right between the two streets. Then Madeira Police Department, Ohio State Patrol, the Hamilton County Coroner has been called, NTSB, did I say Ohio State Police, the Cincinnati Fire Department, Cincinnati CVG Fire Department, who has a lot of training in this area, also has a rep assisting us right now because they can get backside information quicker and know who to get that from than we do. So, and all that information is going to be given to the Madeira Police Department and through them to the Ohio State Patrol, who probably will be lead on this one now.
Correct. Can you talk about is this a rare occurrence? Have you guys had any issues before? Or you have dealt with something?
You know, aircraft fly all over this area all the time, and they don't crash terrifically often. So it's unusual for this community.
Chief, do you know when the last airplane crash was in Madeira near St. Gertrude, that 30 or 40 years ago?
It predates my tenure here, which is 19 or 20 years, but there have been planes down in Indian Hill and Madeira both over time, but it's been quite a while.
Where that is the flight path.
Yeah, we're on a flight path into Lunken on most weather conditions.
So what's the next steps for you guys, Chief?
Secure the scene and make sure that everything is left on the scene the way it is, because we want to try to find out as much about the cause of the accident as we can. So that's one of those things that our guys are holding the scene secure and dealing with residual fire when it springs up. But otherwise, we're waiting for then a very concerted, organized effort to examine the scene and figure out what happened.
What
Chief,
does the
we don't
plane
have
look
a good.
like? Have you seen the damage?
It's extensive.
Describe parts that are maybe strewn around the yard? Or
Yes, all of that stuff. All of that stuff, yes.
Yeah, Chief, we don't have a good visual of exactly where this happened, so just kind of lay it out for our viewers
It's
what
in
it looks like.
okay. It's in a backyard, a residential backyard that might be 100 by 100 clearance between a fence and the home, and it struck what was was an addition to the home, a family room addition to the home, and it's taken out about half of that room, and then it struck hard on the front edge of the aircraft, so that part of the aircraft is destroyed.
If people would have been home, would they have been able to survive that type of impact?
May have been. May very well have been. There was no fire extension into the house. It's mechanical damage of the house from the aircraft striking the house. So yes, people could have been home in many areas of the house and done just fine.
Can you tell us if the victim was male, female?
I don't know the answer to that.
Hey, I'll be back.
The only thing I can tell you that we did confirm with the homeowner, who has arrived on scene, that he knows where everybody that could have been in the house is, and they're all okay.
A couple of dogs were saved.
A couple of dogs. I think the police took care of the dogs and got the dogs taken care of.
Is there any indication, I know it's early, but that air traffic control was getting any word that there was distress on this plane?
Those stories are beginning to develop.
Chief, when can we expect another update from you guys?
I was talking with Lieutenant Phillips. It's 16:30 or so about. So we're aware that. Do all you guys go live at 6 or what's? I mean, we'll try to help you as much as we can, but within reason.
Pretty much going to be live from here on out.
Okay.
Can we
Next couple
can
hours.
we fly our drone, get a drone shot from
No.
along the street corner?
No. No.
Any chance we can just get closer?
We'll consider that. Yeah, we'll consider that.
Are there any photos that your department or any department that can provide of the scene at the moment?
There isn't. And I'm going to, we'll talk with law enforcement about that when it gets to that point.
Did the airport try to notify the fire department of like a plane about to go down or anything?
That story is developing.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you guys have an ETA on FAA investigators coming in?
No, I don't.
Lieutenant Phillips, talk about OSP's role in all of this. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office has helicopters in the air. Where are you guys moving forward?
Moving forward, we're going to partner with people that are experts in these kind of investigations, really trying to figure out what exactly happened and as much as we can about the aircraft, who was on the aircraft, and what it was doing. And OSP is going to assist us in that. Also, we're going to work closely with the FAA as well in that investigation.
We talked about the road closures in the area. I mean, are folks going to have to be aware of this?
There will be limited access for Rollymeade here, where the incident's at, and also limited access to Kaywood, which is the next cross street down on Shawnee Run.
Shawnee Run's going to be open.
Shawnee Run will be open. But, if you're going to be in the area, proceed with caution, because there's going to be a lot of vehicles in and out, media vehicles and stuff like that. We're trying to get you guys as close to the scene as possible so we can reassure the community that everyone's safe. There's nothing to be concerned about at the moment. The scene is secure. The fire is out. Officers were able to quickly assess that there was nobody present in the home and actually get the 2 dogs that were inside out of the house.
Can we have you say your name as well? Just so we make sure.
Oh, sure. It's Lieutenant Paul Phillips. 2 L's in Phillips.
So maybe what we'll try to do is get back with you at 6. Okay? And we'll say here, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
We'll say here, but we may, one of the things we'll talk about is traffic control, and we'll try to
All right,
get...
so I think the big takeaway from that update there from officials is now they are confirming that there is at least 1 fatality believed to be the pilot here in this crash that happened, plane crash that happened in Madeira today around 3:15.
And they said no one else from the area reached out for help, so they cannot confirm that there aren't more fatalities. They just don't know how many people were on board that plane. But this kind of also confirms what Liz was saying, that no one was transported to any area hospitals. So presumably just the pilot, but again, that's only not confirmed that there wasn't more than 1 person on that plane.
Yeah, we understand that plane was on fire when investigators got there to the scene. We're taking a live look at the damage. This is on the back side of that home. We understand there was no fire damage to the actual house, though. That was all contained to the plane and probably some parts of that backyard there. But I believe those are people down there on the scene beginning to survey.
Yeah.
We know the NTSB has been called out there as well. But this is a developing story.
Well, and they were able to search the whole house, got out the 2 dogs. We don't know if people were in the house. Liz told us earlier that she had found out that no one was home at the time, but either way, no one was injured from that home.
Yeah, including
not
2
even the
pets
dogs.
that were inside.
Yeah. So that's good. That's an extension of the house. We know our Brad Underwood is on the scene. He was at the news conference. He's ready to join us live with some information as well. Brad, can you hear us?
I can, Paula. Just to your point you mentioned about people being maybe inside the house at the time, we do know from the fire chief out here saying that no one was inside the home except those 2 dogs. They were able to get in touch with one of the residents who is somewhere out here in the neighborhood, and it confirmed to the fire department that all of his family members were safe. They were not inside the home at the time the plane crashed into it. But an interesting point that the chief made, saying that even if they were, they most likely would have been able to get out of the house because it was in the back portion, hitting half of that recent addition to the home, and that the fire was mechanical only and did not cause any damage to the home. And again, talking about at least 1 fatality here, the fire chief telling us this afternoon, at least the pilot, he says the plane, the model of it could seat up to 6, but again, they do not know if there were more than just the pilot inside that airplane today. As we're getting a look down the street, as close as we can be, you can see the yellow tape down there where a lot of those flashing lights are here at Shawnee Run and Rollymeade. That is as close as they are letting the media get. They are letting residents in the area come in, check on their homes, but again, all the damage is pretty much contained to the backyard of that home here at the end of Rollymeade, Paula.
And Brad, are you hearing from any neighbors? I know some have called in to us, and there was a huge plume of smoke. It had to sound like a bomb had gone off. Has anyone reached out to talk to you about what they might have heard?
You know, as soon as we got here, I spoke to a young man, Andrew Roy. He shared a picture, which we've been able to get out on social media, of the smoke in the area. But as soon as we got here, instantly talking with the fire chief. So we have not had, and as you know, that press conference just wrapped up, not had a lot of time or any time to get out and talk to any neighbors. We expect to do that here shortly as all of this develops. We do expect, as you may have heard the chief say there, the next update could be around 6 o'clock tonight.
They must have been out there very quickly from Indian Hill, Madeira Indian Hill Fire Department. That is almost walking distance from where you are. Is there anything that people should keep in mind? It's rush hour. I know Shawnee Run is a very busy area, but this is not actually on Shawnee Run then. It's, I guess, a side street?
Yeah, a side street off of Shawnee Run, 2 streets off of Shawnee Run. But again, you know, you talk about people using this as a way to get home in the area, very congested at this time of day. Asking, the main thing here is asking folks if they do have to come here to maybe try to find a different way than Shawnee Run, just because of all of the first responders that are here. I mean, the Sycamore Township's fire truck behind the camera here is just sitting in Shawnee Run as a Hamilton County Sheriff deputy is directing traffic as it's down to 1 lane. So it's still very congested. The school bus recently dropping off kids and being escorted to their home, or their parents coming in to get them, as hearing the news of a plane crash in their neighborhood. You know, these early reports not indicating which home it was, you know, if anyone was injured. Excuse me. And so people converging on this area, adding to the already busy traffic that we're seeing with the heavy law enforcement response and fire.
All right, Brad, we are going to let you get back to the scene there so you can continue to report. We'll check in with you, though, again here in our 4 o'clock hour if we can do that. But we want to let you go and get back to that reporting out there. We have a phone interview right now with Carter Wade, who lives in this area. Carter, if you can hear us, thank you so much for joining us. We're glad that you are safe first and foremost.
Oh.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulties there with Carter, it appears.
We also have video, I know, of the plane on fire that was taken from one of the neighbors, and we're efforting that right now. We'll get that to you. Hopefully, I think we have it. There we go.
So this is our first look at this plane on fire. You can see the flames there and what appears to be the front end. And we believe this is Carter Wade's video, the gentleman we are trying to get on the phone. He lives near the scene here. But obviously, this is pretty incredible to look at those flames. And again,
it's a twin Piper, and the chief had confirmed that, and our Dwayne Pullman had found that. He actually had the tail number and knew that it was with Mark Incorporated, a plane that flies missions to do mapping and that kind of thing.
Taking pictures of something in that area, perhaps.
Yeah, and the chief confirmed that it was on its way or inbound to Lunken. We don't know if it started at Lunken and then was just going back, or where it started, but the plane is out of Mississippi originally. The company had no comment when we called, but the chief also said they put that fire out very quickly.
And it didn't impact anything in the house. It was contained to that. But it is, when you look at the flames that are coming out of there, it's kind of incredible to hear that and one person is still one too many, but only one person is confirmed as a fatality at this point, but the investigators are saying at least one person at this time.
We're going to take a quick break. We're continuing to monitor this story. We'll be back in just a bit. That is happening right now in Madeira. A plane crashed into a house on Rollymeade. It was at 3:17 this afternoon.
Yeah, officials there on the scene confirming that there's at least one fatality. The pilot, you're now taking a live look from one of our drones where you can see what is left there of the plane. It was on fire when it crashed there in the backyard. We can tell you that the fire did not spread to the house. It was contained just to the backyard and to that plane, but there's clearly a lot of damage there. The investigation underway. The NTSB has been called to that scene.
Yeah, it's actually the extension of a house, so it damaged part of the extension.
Correct.
No one was home, which was really good news. The 2 dogs that were there got out safely, and they did confirm that the homeowners weren't even there at the time, so that is really good news. That video, we had some video of the plane crash from a neighbor, and we're going to talk to him a little bit later. But right now, we're going to move on to other aviation.